Oh, she has a baby. Look. Oh,
It's interested.
the little hands.
Good afternoon everyone, my name's Simon. I'm just going to be doing a quick talk about our macaque monkeys here, but please don't feel you have to stay here. I won't be offended if you walk away. Rob, our keeper, has just finished in the enclosure, and what he has put out here is a puzzle feeder, which is made up of some crates with some egg boxes in, and then there's some food inside as well. So at the moment I don't actually know what it is. It might just be a kibble biscuit. Yes, I can see that there's been a scatter feed of kibble biscuit as well, which is what they're eating, which is a bit like a dog biscuit, but it's specially formulated for leaf-eating mammals. So these guys, they do form an extended family group. They're made up of two breeding females. One is called Drusilla, and she is 28 years old. She's our oldest primate here in the zoo. And the other one is called Satana, and she is 19 now. All of the others are their offspring. So Drusilla is the one with the baby on her tummy, and that baby is now just coming up to a year old, and his name is Dougie Jr. So we did have an alpha male, and he was the father of all of the younger macaques in here, but unfortunately Dougie passed away last year, rather unexpectedly, and we're still waiting to find out exactly what the cause of that was. When an animal dies here in the park, we automatically send the dead animal off to University College Dublin for a post-mortem, so that we can know exactly what the cause was. We still haven't got the results back yet from that last year, unfortunately. But in honour of his dad, we've called the baby DJ, Dougie Jr. So the age range in the enclosure, all of the juveniles are under 7 years old. Under 8 years old now, so ranging from just under a year old up to 8 years old, and then we have the two adult females as well. So you can see there's a range of different sizes, and they should, as the babies grow bigger, they'll get to the same size as the mum that you can see there, Drusilla. But the males can grow quite a lot bigger. So in a troop of macaques, you will have what's called an alpha, and the alpha is like the big chief, if you like. And because they need to be kind of in control of the group, they tend to grow a lot bigger and a lot more muscular. So they can be up to sort of twice as big as the rest of them. So Dougie was quite big himself, and you would, if he were here, you would notice that he would look very big, very strong, and have amazingly large teeth. So even though these guys look cute, and some people do want to have them as pets, they can actually be quite dangerous. So you may have noticed, if you did see Rob in the enclosure, that the macaques were locked away whilst he was in here, and that was for his own safety. And you'll notice that we have an incredibly large separation between you and the mesh of the macaque enclosure, and that is so we don't have anyone reaching over trying to touch them and having their fingers ripped off. So that's something that could potentially happen. That's why we have this extra large separation here, just to keep you guys nice and safe. So in the wild, they will live in groups of maybe up to 50 macaques in a troop. So you'll have an alpha male who will be in charge of the entire troop, but some of the other senior males will also be mating with the females as well. So it won't just be that one male that's mating with all of them. And that's one way that naturally they can ensure that there's not inbreeding taking place. These guys are part of a breeding program, and it's a really important breeding program. We call it an EEP, which stands for EAZA Ex Situ program. EAZA is an organisation that we're very proud to be part of. It's the European Association of Zoos and Aquaria, and Ex Situ simply means away from their natural habitat. So their natural habitat is in Sulawesi, which is in Indonesia. So it's the island of Sulawesi and one of the neighbouring islands. That's where you'll find these guys in the wild. Their numbers in the wild are estimated to be around about 75,000, which may sound like quite a lot, but they've actually lost about 75% of their wild population over the last 25 years, and it is estimated that they will lose the remaining population within 25 years, so they will go extinct within 25 years if nothing is done to actually protect them. So that's why this breeding program is incredibly important. So these are classed as critically endangered animals. Now, because we're part of EAZA, it means that we don't actually own the animals here in the zoo. That's all the animals. We don't own a single animal here in the zoo at all. We share them collaboratively with all our zoo partners in EAZA and in the sister organisation BIAZA, which is the British and Irish Association of Zoos and Aquaria. And what this means is that it's possible for us to send animals between zoos. So these guys have come to us, or the two breeding females have come to us from separate zoo collections, but all of the offspring, all the babies were all born here. However, they will all eventually, when they reach maturity, be going off to other zoos to become parts of their breeding programs as well. And that way we can ensure that the genetic diversity of the zoo population of macaques is as diverse as possible, which will be really, really important, because the whole point of the breeding program is to eventually start sending these guys back to the wild. So that can't happen at the moment, because unfortunately the threats which have brought their numbers down so low are still there in the wild. So these are things like deforestation. Also, these guys are actually hunted, so humans will hunt them and eat them. They are considered to be a delicacy in Indonesia. So for instance, at wedding feasts, having a macaque as like the centerpiece of a wedding is quite common. Also, there is an illegal pet trade, so people are trapping macaques, and if they trap a mum with a baby, usually they'll have to kill the mother to get the baby off them. So that will effectively be taking 2 generations out of the gene pool in one go as well. So the threats are still there, and until we can reduce those threat levels, there is no point in sending back any captively bred macaques, because they simply won't be able to survive. So there is a really diverse education program taking place in Indonesia, which is coordinated through conservation charities, including Macaque Nigra, which is a charity that we're very happy to support here in Emerald Park. Macaque Nigra is the scientific name for these animals. It simply means black macaque. Macaque is, of course, the species of monkey that these guys belong to, so there are various other macaques as well. And so Macaque Nigra are very active in Indonesia, educating local people, getting them to change their behaviours, hopefully getting them to stop hunting these animals, putting snares down for them, and making people understand the importance of conservation. So macaques in the wild are a really important element of their ecosystem. What that means is, if you were to allow these animals to go extinct, it would actually have a really detrimental effect on the forests in Indonesia, because these animals are called seed dispersers, so they're a keystone species in their ecosystem. So as they forage around for food, as you can see them doing here, this is a natural foraging behaviour, they would be eating seeds and fruits, but those seeds would not necessarily digest in their stomachs, so they would pass out in their feces, in their poo, and then those seeds would take root and germinate and grow into new trees. And this is one way that forests can regenerate naturally. So if you remove species like macaques from their ecosystem, you're severely restricting nature's ability to regenerate forests naturally. So that's why they are so important. Now these guys, one of the questions we do get asked here is, are they mini gorillas? No, they're not. So they're not apes, they are monkeys. And there is a difference between apes and monkeys, and if you think about it, it's quite an obvious difference. Apes do not have tails, but monkeys do. So we are apes, we are part of the ape family, we don't have tails. And if you look at these guys, you might think that they don't have tails, but they actually do. So if you look above the coloured area on their bottoms, you might see a tiny little tail. It is literally only 1 or 2 centimetres long, but it is there, and that means that these guys are monkeys. In their evolutionary past, that we're talking about millions of years in the past, they would have had proper long tails. But over the millions of years that they've evolved, because they spend a lot of time down on the ground now, they don't really need to have those long tails anymore. So over the generations, those tails have got shorter and shorter until they're almost non-existent. And probably something similar happened to humans as well in our evolutionary past. Before we became humans, when we were a hominid species, we would have had tails as well. And I think it's rare, but some people still do have residual tails, even amongst humans. So these guys spend about 60% of their time on the ground foraging for food, but they are still really, really super cool climbers. So they have the abilities that most monkeys do, which is opposable big toes. And this means that they can use their feet just like we use our hands. So if you were to see them climbing up into the trees or onto the mesh, you'd be able to see this for yourselves. And they have the ability to hang upside down from the roof by their feet, which they like to do from time to time to show off. So another really interesting feature, if you look at the big macaque just in front of us here, this is one of the females. You will notice that she's got very bulging cheeks. And that's actually because these are pouches where she can store food. So as they're foraging around, because they walk around on all fours, they're quadrupeds, they can walk upright for short periods of time. They need to use their hands to walk around, so they can't hold food in their hands. So they have to store it somewhere. And they do that by storing it in these cheek pouches. So if you imagine, they're a bit like shopping bags in their cheeks. And what they can do is they can stuff the cheek pouches until they're absolutely full, and then they can take themselves off somewhere nice and quiet and just slowly transfer that food from their cheek pouches to their digestive systems, and that way they can ensure that they get a really good meal. So that's just a really interesting feature, a bit like a hamster in a way. But these guys, they are primates just like we are, and that's just an interesting adaptation that they do have. So why have we put a crate in there? Well, what we like to do is we like to provide what we call enrichment. And we do that for every single animal in the zoo, and it's vital that we do this. And this is one way that we can ensure that our animals are stimulated and they don't get bored. And this is one way to help keep them sort of mentally strong and healthy, and also make sure that every single day is just a little bit different. So we're always coming up with new plans and new techniques for using enrichment. And our keepers like to recycle stuff as much as possible, which is why we have these egg cartons and this crate that they're in. So they have to work to get their food out. So it's a bit like a puzzle feeder, and this is one way that they can use their mental ability to problem solve, and this is one way that we can enrich their time here in the enclosure. Now also in the enclosure we have loads of tyres and fire hoses and other things for them to climb up and to swing off. And we can move these around the enclosure and change the enclosure around quite quickly. It might take like an hour or two, but that way we can actually make the enclosure look completely different, and it's almost like they've moved to a different enclosure. And this is another way that we can stimulate these guys as well. So with the feeding, that's another form of enrichment, the types of food that we feed them as well. So in the wild, these guys are opportunistic omnivores, which means they will eat anything ranging from leaves and fruit and vegetables and nuts through to insects, small mammals like rats or mice, lizards, birds. They'll eat the whole lot. But our macaques here have decided amongst themselves that they don't like meat. So they've chosen to be vegetarian. We have tried them with meat in the past. They really don't like it, so we don't give them meat anymore. But we do give them other protein forms, such as insects. They're quite happy to eat insects. And one of their absolute favourites is boiled eggs. So we do give them boiled eggs regularly. And when we feed them boiled eggs, it's quite funny, because what our keepers will do is they'll stand where you're standing and throw them through the bars. So as they go through the bars, they'll smash. It's a bit like a kind of egg slice, if you like. So chunks of egg will go all over the enclosure, and that way they can all get an equal share. So there's not just one big, if the alpha male was here, Dougie used to love his boiled eggs, and he would try and hoard and get as many of them as possible and bully the other ones. So by doing it this way, it ensures that they all get an equal share as well. So eggs is a favourite, and also they get a feed of veg, and it's all the good stuff that we should be eating. Beetroot is one of their favourites, aubergine, courgettes, things like that, carrots, cauliflower, cucumber. They love nuts, of course, so they do get nuts occasionally, but we don't generally give them fruit. And one of the reasons for this is, if you think about the fruit that you like to eat, the apples, oranges and bananas, etc., it's very rich in sugar, it's very sweet, which is fine for us, but it wouldn't be good for these guys, because in the wild the fruit that they would eat would be very unripe, because basically if they didn't eat it first, then another animal will come along and steal it. So they have to eat whatever they can find, and that means that their bodies are not designed to digest complex sugars, and so that would lead to things like stomach problems, diarrhea, tooth decay. And also we've found from studies in zoos that feeding captive primates with high sugar diets can lead to increased aggression, which means lots of fighting, which we don't want to see here, obviously, because we don't want them to hurt each other. So they do have little squabbles sometimes because they are family members, just like humans do, especially over food. But generally, as you can see, they get on really, really well, and they love to groom each other, which is a social habit. You may notice with the little one there, he's got a bald patch on his side, and that's because his mum tends to overgroom him in this area, but it will go back eventually. What we try and provide for them here is the most realistic habitat possible, which mimics their habitat that we find in the wild. There we go, that's the kind of squabbles I'm talking about. So it's usually nothing major, it looks quite spectacular, but it's just a bit of a family squabble. So thank you so much for listening, guys. I hope you enjoyed that talk. Hope you enjoyed watching our beautiful macaques. Just finally to let you know that the charity that I mentioned, Macaque Nigra, we have donated over 20,000 euro to Macaque Nigra over the years, and that money has come from you guys. So just by being here in our park today, a small percentage of the money that you pay goes towards a number of our wildlife charity partners, including Wildcats Conservation Alliance and Macaque Nigra. So you guys are actively involved in the conservation of these wonderful primates just by being here today. So on behalf of the park, I'd like to thank you very much indeed for your contributions. Thanks once again for listening. Just to let you know some of the things going on in our zoo today, we have a second World of Raptors demonstration in the World of